very reason. We're allowing that to condense. I would be surprised in the next code update that the requirement for vapor barrier on basement walls is removed. So lots of different things to look at from that perspective. Move this through. So your proper design, you've got a lot of considerations prior to the start of any project. You got to make sure the project fits you, is what you want. You have to know who you're dealing with and their qualifications. And you got to make sure that your systems complement each other. There's no sense putting in a system that's going to take away from another system. One of the points I can't stress enough is know who you're dealing with and their qualifications. There's a lot of good qualified contractors out there, but there are a lot that aren't. 3 quotes. Get 3 quotes, get references. Make sure you're dealing with the right people. So I think I managed to stay on time here. I tried to move. Sorry, I had to flip through a few more there. I believe our next person is Rick. Yeah, if there's any questions on any kind of the shell construction of a home.
And you do much of it on a do-it-yourself basis. The city building inspector said you have to hire a consulting engineer to make a significant project.
It depends on what you're doing. If there's a requirement for safety, they're going to want to see something. You can build your own home all you want. It still has to be built to the same Ontario Building Code standard, and you'll be held to that. But we do allow, through our regulations, the opportunity for a homeowner to do their own work, but it still has to meet that standard.
And a contractor would normally supply the engineering work.
Yeah, again, depending on what you're doing, the contractor involved should be doing a qualified job to begin with.
What about in the tendency design, you're talking about the house as a whole, the SIPS panel?
There's a lot of different technology out there, and what we're talking about is a SIPS panel, a structural insulated panel. SIPS, much like ICF, or insulated concrete forms, is a building system that is pre-manufactured off-site. The SIPS panels are a great option. ICF's a great option. Not so much for the R value of it, because we can build R value into many, many different things. But what SIPS does is it removes a lot of the thermal bridging, and it creates a more airtight home. A lot of the, and I'd say 30 to 40% of your heating and cooling costs come from infiltration and ventilation. So if we can make that house more airtight, it has less energy required to heat or cool it. So any of these construction types out there, SIPS panels, ICF, straw bale makes a very, very tight home. There's lots of different options out there. Unfortunately, they're normally more than standard construction costs. I would argue, till I'm blue in the face, that they are well worth it. Anybody who's building nowadays and not approaching those kind of technologies really needs to have a second look. Anything else?
Just a little bit more about the HRVs. I think I heard you say that in the winter, they actually use no time. You don't want to use it.
Exactly.
When should we actually use it? For someone
Okay. Ventilation, especially with an HRV, is designed to run continuously. So that system should run continuously on low speed. When we look at ventilation, we normally do a room count. So we have a master bedroom, we say that's worth 20 CFM, and unfinished basement is 20 CFM. All other habitable rooms are worth 10. That kind of gives us our basis for ventilation. When we decide how much ventilation is going to run continually, it's normally about half of that number. So if we add up to 120 CFM, we're going to provide 60 CFM continuously to that home in fresh air ventilation. The little push button timers that you typically see with them simply bring that unit onto high speed for a short period of time. That's normally 20 minutes. Again, to try to combine itself with an exhaust system to pull air out of a house. But to directly answer your question, it should be running continuously.
Year-round.
Year-round.
CFM?
Cubic feet per minute. Sorry. Well, there's also ERVs as well. I didn't touch on that. An ERV is something that we have 2 different heat types. We have latent heat, and that latent heat is in the moisture of the home. Sensible heat is what we feel, latent heat is in moisture. And ERV captures that latent heat because it's actually got a cardboard core, so it retains that moisture in the home. So again, with heat humidification, we're actually keeping that moisture in the home to retain the energy that's been used to heat or cool it. Any other questions?
Is ICF like a durable system, and does it save on heating costs?
ICF, if we look at the actual R value of an ICF construction, it really is only about R24 because we've got 2 inches of foam, 8 inches concrete, 2 inches of foam, and any calculation you're going to use that says that much is R24. Most of the manufacturers are going to tell you it operates at about an R40 value. The reason they state that is because we have other factors involved. It has a lot of thermal mass. It's going to store heat for us. It's very, very airtight. So all these things in play, I would agree with them that it actually does operate more on an R40 level than R24. For building code purposes, we have to take that as R24. As far as durability is concerned, concrete's concrete. They use what's called a higher MPa concrete to fill that, so it's a stronger concrete. So it's much better in that aspect, but there is foam on both sides. One of the problems that we've noticed with foam is insects. Ants love it. So that should be taken into consideration. The way that we mitigate that is parging on the outside of it. And again, like any quality installation, needs to be done correctly. Any other questions? The minimum building code for your walls is R20. It's actually stated as an RSI factor, but equivalent R values are R20 for your walls, R40 for a ceiling with an attic, meaning we can blow insulation into it, R32 for a vaulted ceiling if we have to put a bat into it, and R12 on our basement walls.
I think we've got time for one more question. Any other questions?
This is just evidence or slides available also, like either now or later on all these things that are posted up.
Yeah.
I think Alan will have all these posted on the website.
Yeah, we're going to post them on the website. Okay, so it's important. I guess we've given everyone a feedback form. If we haven't got your email address, if you prefer to do that, we'll be probably using that if they give you additional information and then it comes up with feedback.
And again, any other
We'll
questions
be
you have,
posting on Switch.
grab a card of mine from Alan that I'll leave with them. Feel free to email me any questions you can think of later if you'd like an answer to them. I'll find you an answer. I might not have the answer right off the bat, but I'll find you the answer. Okay? Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. Just a couple of items, okay, before